Right now on News 3, a deadly year for law enforcement across the country. How local departments are making changes with officer safety as a top priority.
And a look back at the year that was, the biggest stories of the year of 2018 right now at 10.
This is News 3 at 10.
Thanks for joining us tonight. What a difference 24 hours can make.
Yesterday was raining with record time highs, and tonight it is snow with temperatures in the 20s. All the snow and rapid temperature drop is causing some slick conditions. This is a live look at the Beltline at Todd Drive. The main highways are getting a lot of attention, but the side streets can be in bad shape. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canolti now with your first alert forecast.
Yeah, heading home for dinner break, boy. It was slick on the side streets because they hadn't been salted. Once the salt is out there, it usually does a pretty good job. Here in the backyard, we have maybe a quarter of an inch of snow, and you can see that very little snow has fallen over southern Wisconsin, but most of southern Wisconsin has seen at least a little bit of snow cover. To the north and west, this big winter storm over the last couple of days has brought us rain, has brought heavy amounts of snow to parts of Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin. But as we look at Doppler track, the snow is starting to wind down now pretty quickly from northwest to southeast. The back edge of the snow from about Prairie du Chien to just north of Richland Center to just northwest of Wisconsin Dells, and is moving pretty steadily toward the south and east. So I think over the next couple of hours, we should see the snow gradually come to an end. Visibility is right now generally pretty good. We've got a little bit of light snow in the backyard. Visibility at the airport is at 9 miles. You can see Lone Rock down to a 2-mile visibility, but once that last band of snow passes through, things should improve. High temperatures today early this morning. We're at 49 degrees just after midnight. The temperatures have been falling steadily, and we're now at 25 degrees. All of southern Wisconsin seeing temperatures in the 20s, and you can see winds now out of the north. They're not quite as strong as they were earlier, but still in the 8 to 15 mile per hour range. And as we check out the forecast for the overnight hours into tomorrow, look for skies to be cloudy. The snow chances will come to an end probably after midnight. Then look for mostly cloudy skies tomorrow with maybe a little peak of sunshine toward the latter part of the afternoon. It will be colder with a high temperature of 28. That's your first alert forecast.
Thank you, Gary. If your weekend plans depend on the weather, you need to get our Channel 3000 weather and traffic app. It includes our 12-hour and 10-day forecast and up-to-the-moment traffic information on the go. Next tonight, after a 1-year decline, the number of officers killed on the job increased in 2018.
Adam Duxter joins us from our bureau at the Janesville Gazette with what police in Rock County make of this news and what they're doing to stay safe. Adam?
Well, Eric and Amanda, so far in 2018, 144 federal, state, and local law enforcement officers have died in the line of duty. And today I chatted with 2 police chiefs and got their take as well as what they're doing to keep their officers safe. This was the scene in Milwaukee this summer, where a police officer was shot and killed in the line of duty. Michael Mahalski, a 17-year veteran, is one of more than 50 officers nationwide to lose their life to gunfire in 2018, leaving behind a grieving department.
A loss of an officer can have long-term and significant impacts on that organization.
In Janesville, Police Chief David Moore says his officers are aware of how dangerous the job can be.
Our officers know every day they leave this garage that they don't know what that day is going to bring. They don't know what that threat may be.
Moore says he and his team have been reading this year's officer fatalities report to try and figure out where things go wrong. 20 minutes south in Beloit, Chief David Zabalski is doing the same thing. He tells me the life expectancy for a police officer is 22 years shorter than the average.
If you've been a cop for your whole career, you're most likely to die in your 50s. Everyone else is going to make it till their 70s.
Zabalski says he's seen how recruitment and retention numbers for police have dropped in recent years, and that fear now plays a factor.
I think they're really worried about making a mistake because they're aware of the intense scrutiny that's around them.
Both chiefs say their focus has now turned to preventative training, but Zabalski says that can only go so far.
We've gone to extreme strides over the last 5-8 years in terms of training our officers to de-escalate violent situations for folks that may have mental health issues. But that doesn't work when you're dealing with a committed criminal.
And today I also talked to a state representative from Green Bay who in 2016 introduced a bill that would make the targeted shooting of a police officer count as a hate crime. And while that bill did not pass, he told me he's still devoted and committed to protecting law enforcement officers across Wisconsin.
All right, Adam, thank you very much. Law enforcement officials in California say they've arrested the man who killed an officer during a traffic stop the morning after Christmas. The suspect, Gustavo Perez Arriaga, was on the run for 2 days, said to be in the country illegally. He was arrested this morning nearly 200 miles from where police say he shot and killed Corporal Ranil Singh. A fourth person now facing charges in connection with a Visions nightclub shooting earlier this month. Marshawn Hunt will be in court in mid-January for a status conference. He's facing tentative charges for harboring and aiding a felon, 2 counts of obstructing an officer. According to the complaint, he tried to hide the knife that was used by Deshaun Robert, which led to his shooting. Cole Foster and Spencer Jackson are also facing charges related to that shooting.
News 3 is investigating tonight why a daycare on Madison's west side closed its doors abruptly. Documents show the Wisconsin Department of Children and Families revoked the license of Angel's Joy Learning Center last week. The department received a complaint saying a man with a felony conviction of murder was employed there and had contact with children. That employee was 44-year-old Tracy Ferguson, the brother of the center's director. Court records show he was convicted of murder and aggravated battery with a firearm in 1993 in Illinois. He was paroled in January of this year and started working at the daycare shortly after. State documents show Ferguson was paid off the books and did maintenance work while children were there. Angel's Joy sent us a statement saying, in part, "We are aware that the closing of the center has affected many families. Please know we are doing everything possible in cooperation with licensing to rectify this situation. It's our goal to have our facility up and running as soon as possible."
Governor-elect Tony Evers has appointed 2 new cabinet secretaries during an event in Madison today. Mary Kohler, a retired U.S. Navy captain, will serve as the new State Department of Veterans Affairs secretary. Kathy Blumenfeld, a vice president of a Madison-based benefits administration company, will serve as Department of Financial Institutions secretary. Evers also announced that Brian Ponke, an assistant state school superintendent, will be his state budget director. President Trump has threatened to shut down the entire southern border if Democrats don't give him funding for the wall. Day 7 now of the shutdown. The White House warns there's no end in sight. Democrats say they'll pass a resolution to reopen the government when they return January 3rd and take over the House majority. It would still have to get through a GOP-controlled Senate.
As a byproduct of the government shutdown, members of the U.S. Coast Guard may not be getting their next paychecks. That's because the Coast Guard, unlike the other branches of the military, falls under the Department of Homeland Security, one of the agencies that, unlike the Department of Defense, is affected by the shutdown. Kayla Garcia lives in Door County. Her husband is in the Coast Guard. She says the prospect of not receiving a January 1st paycheck has been very stressful during the holidays.
If something isn't resolved with Congress and the White House, we actually will have a delay on those checks. And that's when I kind of started to panic, rearrange some finances. I thought about returning some of the Christmas gifts that were wrapped under my tree.
The Coast Guard has more than 40,000 members, none of whom would receive their paychecks on January 1st if the shutdown isn't resolved before the day is over.
The CDC says it's seeing an uptick in the flu cases around the country. The agency released its flu activity report today. As of last Saturday, 9 states now have high flu activity. The CDC says the good news is all of the viruses they've tested appear to be susceptible to vaccines and treatment. Santa may be done for the year, but for toy makers, the work for next Christmas is now underway. Designers at Pacific Cycle on Madison's west side work year-round to create concepts for new toys like Scout, the interactive horse that kids can ride on, feed, and groom. From its inception, it took designers about 2 years to get Scout to market. It's now up for a Toy of the Year award, which Pacific Cycle's lead designer says is a bit like the Oscars in his business. He says it's a toy he would have loved to have himself as a kid, and there's a lot to love about designing.
They're just coming up with fresh ideas, drawing them up and making them come to life. Making them prototypes, showing them to kids for the first time, having kids play with them, react to them. That's by far my favorite product.
And you can vote for Scout to win Toy of the Year. We have a link on our website along with more information about the toy.
The new year will bring new possibilities for the Ronald McDonald House after a family-owned business donated $60,000 to the nonprofit. Andy Kurth and his family own Weedman Lawn Care in Middleton. Kurth says it's part of their mission to provide development and great opportunity for people. They thought the Ronald McDonald House was the embodiment of that. They originally planned to donate just $10,000, but after seeing how many people the organization has affected at their holiday party, they donated an additional $50,000. Still ahead tonight, your updated forecast and if this wintry weather will continue into the weekend.
Plus, from the explosion in Sun Prairie to a local man winning a gold medal at the Olympics, a look at the top local stories of 2018 next.
Four World of Variety stores have now officially closed. The stores in Fenimore, Boscobel, Mount Horeb, and Cross Plains announced in September they would be closing. They've been in business for nearly 50 years. At one point, World of Variety had 6 locations, with the other 2 in Verona and Darlington. Those stores closed in 2016.
No official word so far on whether Sears has found a buyer to stay in business. The retail giant in bankruptcy. It's been looking for a bidder to buy its remaining stores. This afternoon was the deadline to submit bids. Meanwhile, the company announced the same day it's closing 80 more stores. That includes 43 Sears, 37 Kmart stores. In Wisconsin, a Sears store in Appleton and a Kmart in Oconomowoc will be closing. 2018 has been a year of ups and downs.
From the midterm elections to the Sun Prairie explosion and ice raids, sometimes it's hard to recall everything that has happened. Photojournalists Corey Ferris and Chris Loomberg have a review of the news that we've brought you through the year.
Winter Olympics are just a month away, and some local athletes are preparing for their chance to win the gold.
The amount of support that we've gotten from this little town of McFarland has been amazing.
At one point, I thought just making the Olympics was a dream come true, and then we're like, well, as long as we're here, we might as well play our best and see if we can't win.
She was born on Monday. On Thursday, a bruise was discovered.
A nurse had been suspended and a criminal investigation launched. According to investigators, 5 newborns at the Madison hospital were found to have injuries ranging from bruises to a skull fracture.
911, what's the location of your emergency? An apartment just exploded on Canuck Drive. Explosion. The fire alarms are going off.
Authorities conducted a controlled detonation.
There's only been one other incident like this in the country.
We got told we gotta evacuate.
Authorities explained the only way to make it safe is to burn it down.
At 6:21 p.m., we reported to the smell of a gas leak. Our fire department went out there along with our police officers to help with traffic control. A building exploded. There's reports of injuries. We know 2 firefighters who've been transported to the hospital.
We've mourned, we've cried, but tomorrow we start picking up the pieces and we start rebuilding and we start making the things better. You know why? Because that's what Corey wants.
Obviously, we've never seen a rain like this.
You could feel it on your tires, but it wasn't super bad. And then all of a sudden, it just starts washing up over my hood. And I thought, okay, I gotta get out of this.
Sauk County is preparing people for evacuations just from runoff water from the Baraboo River.
Could be a day, could be a week, until they tell us that everything's ready and good to go.
A lot of people here need a lot of help, so this is that first step in trying to get some federal aid in to assist the residents of our county.
It was a bang, 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 bang.
Calls were of an active shooter.
And so we're, looking out and seeing all these police officers getting out of their vehicles, running towards the building.
They went inside and did engage the suspect. The suspect is deceased.
I don't know what possessed them to do that.
It's not what the Baraboo community stands for, not in any way, shape, or form.
We are going to see this community transform.
The mayor of the city of Baraboo declaring the city of Baraboo as Baraboo United Against Hate.
We hear it constantly during election season. Every vote matters.
Justice is on the ballot. Equality is on the ballot.
I want to bring health care back to the states and back to where it should be.
For 8 years now, the people of the state have given me honor to serve.
The Madison City Clerk says almost 60% of registered voters have voted.
I'm proud and humbled to stand here as the next governor of the state of Wisconsin.
There were a lot of stories, of course, that we were not able to include here. You can find out more online at channel3000.com.
All right, and what kind of weather will we finish the year on? For more on that, let's go to Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti. Gary?
I think in some respects, a lot of us just don't want to look back at the weather of 2018. We had all that flooding and some tornadoes, especially in the late July, early August time period. But today, it was another day of very warm temperatures to start out with. Our high temperature this morning, 49 degrees right after midnight. Yesterday, we tied a record high temperature at 50. But look at where the temperatures have gone now. We've dropped almost 25 degrees since early this morning. Temperatures now in the mid-20s across much of southern Wisconsin. Compared to 24 hours ago, that's a 24-degree temperature drop here in Madison. And the wet roads with a little bit of snow on top became very icy for a time. Once salt was put on the roads, most of that cleared up, but there still may be some secondary roads, side streets, sidewalks, and driveways, so keep that in mind. Back edge of the snow now starting to move pretty steadily toward the east and southeast. I think most of the snow will be over with shortly after midnight. There's nothing really upstream, although clouds will linger through much of the day tomorrow. As we look at snow cover, now there's some very light snow cover through southern Wisconsin. Here at the station, probably about a ½ inch of snow, around an inch through the central portion of the state, and then several inches to almost a foot once you get up towards Lake Superior from the storm that brought us the rain over the last couple of days, brought snow well up to the north of us. Live view from the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison. You can make out the snow in the lights around the Capitol. High today, as I mentioned, 49, the low 25. You can see how that compares to the normals of 27 and 13. Right now, we have cloudy skies, winds out of the north at 9 miles per hour, some light snow. Wind chill drops to 16 degrees. High temperatures, upper 40s to lower 50s here to our north and west. They stayed right around freezing. That's where the snow was. Look at the current temperatures. We're colder now with temperatures in the mid-20s, but it's below zero through much of northern Minnesota and the eastern Dakotas where they had blizzard conditions. You factor in the winds, and many locations seeing wind chills between 15 and 20 to 25 degrees below zero. On weather track, the upper level winds right now are from the southwest. That'll take this weather system out of here. The next one's starting to organize in the southwestern part of the country. A piece of that energy will pass to our south on New Year's Eve. Looks like the bulk of the precipitation from that system will stay to our south, but there'll be another weather system coming in from the northwest that'll bring us cold weather just in time for the start of the new year. With a cold front having come through here, temperatures have dropped off. You can see in International Falls, Minnesota, that's the actual air temperature right now, 18 degrees below zero. But of course, they have a lot of snow on the ground up there, so that will keep them cold. Northerly winds will bring that cold air into southern Wisconsin, keeping our temperatures in the 20s for tomorrow. But look what happens as we head into Sunday. Winds become southerly. We're back up into the mid to upper 30s on Sunday and probably in the mid 30s for New Year's Eve Monday. Now here's that southern system with rain to our south. The system to our north and west bringing in the cold air has some light snow. We're kind of in between right now. We could see some light rain or snow on the tail end of that system, and then those temperatures will drop off. So readings that are in the 20s now will drop off to the lower 20s by early tomorrow morning. Our forecast for the overnight hours, look for a low of 21 degrees. It'll be cloudy and colder with a chance of flurries through the overnight hours. Tomorrow, look for a high of 28. It'll stay cloudy for much of the day and colder, but right now I don't think we'll see much in the way of snow. Snow chances will end overnight, but the clouds will linger through much of the day. Tomorrow, highs upper 20s. Then tomorrow night will clear out, but with winds becoming southerly, temperatures will be about the same as they'll be tomorrow morning. And then on Sunday, with those brisk southerly winds, temperatures will be in the mid to upper 30s. As far as the as far as the 7 to 10 day forecast, you'll see those temperatures on the mild side to end 2018, and then just in time for the start of the new year, a high of 21 on New Year's Day. Temperatures cold for Wednesday, a warm up toward the end of next week, and then following that, some chances for snow as we head into the following week with temperatures pretty close to normal. So something for everybody in that forecast.
All right, that's always good. Gary, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. The Badger football team is still celebrating its big win in the Pinstripe Bowl last night at Yankee Stadium. That story coming up in sports.
Badger women's basketball team opens its Big Ten season in Minnesota tonight. The Badgers were 9-3 in the preseason. The Gophers 11-0 under new head coach Lindsey Whalen, the leading scorer in Minnesota women's basketball history, who is back home to coach the Gophers. For the Badgers, Marcia Howard having another great season. She slips down the lane for a hoop but gets into foul trouble in the second quarter. That didn't help. Minnesota's ranked 12th in the country for a reason. Kanisha Bell, 17 points, 10 rebounds, and the Gophers win. Final score, Minnesota 74, Wisconsin 56. The Badger women have their Big Ten home opener Monday afternoon, 2 o'clock at the Kohl Center. The Badger men have their final non-conference game tomorrow afternoon at Western Kentucky at 4:30 p.m. That game will be televised on CBS Sports Network. The Packers still aren't sure if Davante Adams will play Sunday against Detroit at Lambeau Field. Adams' knee is still sore. He didn't practice today, so he's questionable for the game Sunday. But Adams says he's optimistic he'll play. There figures to be a lot of changes between Sunday and the start of the 2019 Packers season, starting with the head coach. But what do you do with veterans with big contracts like Randall Cobb and Clay Matthews? If they do come back, it'll be at a much lower price. But right now, they don't know what their future in football holds.
This is my first time, I'm assuming once this year's over, being a free agent. So we'll see what that means moving forward. There's a lot of things in motion, with the Packers organization right now, as far as head coaches and players and everything like that. But we'll see, down the line where it all fits and where I end up.
The Badger football team still basking in the warm glow of its impressive 35-3 win over Miami in the Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium last night. The Badgers jumped out to a 14-0 lead in the first 3 minutes, let Miami stick around. Then the Wisconsin defense decided the issue with 4 interceptions and a fumble recovery. And Jonathan Taylor capped off a 2,000-yard season, rushing for 205 and a touchdown last night.
Those guys were on, they're on every single game. Really, the big thing was communication. Miami brought a lot of different looks, a lot of tricky looks, but the communication between the O-line and the running backs is something special. When we're all on one page, special things happen.
We kind of let JT do his thing. All we had to do is be on guys, and he makes the rest go for us. We're communicating, fitting stuff up. JT said it, stuff can get magical. You give him a little bit of space.
It's definitely all worth it. I think the ups and downs all year have been tough, but finally finishing this thing off right is it's really good. And I thought we came out and played a complete football game, and that feels really good.
The Big Ten lost its first bowl game of the season today. Minnesota won, Wisconsin won, but this afternoon Auburn crushed Purdue in the Music City Bowl at Nashville. I mean, they whooped them. I really whooped them. The final, Auburn 63, Purdue 14. Our next Prep Mania game of the week is a week from tonight. Boys basketball, Madison La Follette at Madison East. You can watch it live on channel3000.com at 7:15 next Friday night. And we'll be right back.
Finally, tonight, you have to see it to believe it. Newly released dashcam video out of Florida shows a man driving a Ferrari into the water on purpose.
The video shows a Palm Beach officer talking to the driver outside the luxury car on Wednesday. Moments later, the driver gets in. You see the brake lights flash. He backs up, and then it's full speed ahead into the Palm Beach inlet. Amazingly, the driver escaped with no injuries, but investigators are still trying to determine why he did it in the first place. Retail price of the Ferrari start at $250,000.
Maybe he had good insurance.
Hopefully somebody did. All right, Gary, what are we looking at for the weekend?
Some light snow gradually tapering down tonight, probably ending after midnight. Visibilities right now generally pretty good, even where you can see the heavier snow. Visibilities at or above 5 miles, so the snow not really coming down very heavily. Temperatures right now, though, mid-20s, so there still are some slippery road conditions, mainly secondary roads, side streets. Temperatures cold for tomorrow, warming up for the end of 2018, cooling down for the start of 2019, and then maybe some snow toward the end of the first full weekend of the year.
All right.
And off on a cold note.
Right.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks for joining us for News 3 at 10.
Have a good night.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.